Fantasy football season is here, so let's talk some fantasy football. What is going on, y'all? Fast Sports All back at it with another video talking, of course, more NFL fantasy football. If you're new to the channel, make sure to go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button. Make sure to go ahead and hit the bell icon and turn on post notifications because you don't want to miss my videos when I do post them, especially the fantasy football videos like you are interested in watching now. Also, make sure to follow me on my social media links down below for that. Twitter and Instagram, active on both as well. Go ahead and shoot me some questions on there if you guys want. So, with that being said, talking today about my top 5 breakout players in fantasy football this year. So, what are breakout players? Players that are basically getting drafted lower than they should be and are going to give you the most bang for your buck. So, you're going to want to go ahead and draft these players. And some of these players I'm going to give you guys, some of these players are my must-own players. You don't want to miss it. So with that being said, I'm going to get into today's video, but real quick before I do that, if you do want to play against me in fantasy football, go ahead and join my league down below. Link for that. I won this league last year, my official Fast Sports Talk league. So if you think you can beat me, go ahead and challenge me down below. Sign up and register. It's free. And you might win a prize at the end, whoever wins. Again, I won the league last year, so maybe not. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Starting off at number 5, I have Jerick McKinnon. I love Jerick McKinnon. I've loved him since his early days in the NFL. So he's been on the Minnesota Vikings his entire career, and now he is going over to the San Francisco 49ers, who I also love because that offense is going to be potent with Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy G. Garoppolo. So here's the thing with Jerick McKinnon. This is a guy who is not only a talented runner, but he's great at catching the ball as well. And you know in that offense, he's going to get a lot of screen passes, dump offs. They're going to use him whichever way possible because he is a versatile back. And I believe with him now being the full-time starter, he's going to absolutely break out. He doesn't have too much competition for the starting job. Actually, to me, he is the bona fide starter because you got guys like Matt Breida behind him. Breida's okay. Then you got a bunch of practice squad, no-name really guys. So I believe Jerick McKinnon, barring injury, should absolutely have this job on lockdown. And in that offense, with Jimmy Garoppolo and with Kyle Shanahan, the offensive genius that he is, you can easily expect Jerick McKinnon to put up RB2 numbers, and you can get him at a steal of a price. So go ahead and reach for Jerick McKinnon because he's going to be worth it. At number 4, I've got Corey Davis of the Tennessee Titans. Now, a lot of people didn't pay attention to Corey Davis last year when the Titans did make the playoffs because he was hurt for a lot of the year. And his numbers are not that impressive from last year, just 34 catches for 375 yards for Corey Davis. But here's the thing, he was hurt. Didn't really get a feel for things, didn't really get the rust off. But believe you me, this is a talented kid, 6'3", about 209 pounds. He's big, physical, strong. And here's the other part of it. He is the only receiver, really, for the Tennessee Titans that's a bona fide number 1, because obviously last year they had Eric Decker. I'm not saying Eric Decker was the number 1 receiver, but he did give him some competition. Now you got guys like Tywan Taylor, who's more of a speedster, a Tajay Sharp, who's been a bust. So besides Corey Davis, the only other threat is Delanie Walker, who's a tight end, obviously. But Delanie Walker, you're looking at him in the intermediate side of the field. Corey Davis can take the top off of defense. Marcus Mariota is going to absolutely look to get him the ball. And the Titans offense with their new head coach would be dumb to not get him the ball. And I believe they will try to do that. Folks, he's a guy who can give you wide receiver 3 numbers with wide receiver 2 upside. And I don't believe he's being drafted as either. Go ahead and take a look at Corey Davis because he's one of the biggest breakout players to me in this year's fantasy football. At number 3, I've got David Njoku of the Cleveland Browns. Now, I did mention my love for David Njoku in my sleepers tight end videos, my tight end sleepers video. I said that he is my sleeper tight end for this year. So, again, doing a little overlapping here, but I just have to mention him because that's how much I believe in David Njoku, okay? Look at the size on this guy. Look at the fact that he's basically a tank that can move the way he moves, and you're talking about a Cleveland Browns offense that really, outside of Jarvis Landry, it's a bunch of question marks. I know Josh Gordon is there, but again, who knows what we're going to get from him. Will they sign Des Bryant? Will they not? David Njoku is a staple in this offense. He will be this season, especially in the red zone where he led the Browns in targets last season. So he's a red zone machine. And again, he's such a big guy, you can't miss him. And he's got immense amount of potential. I believe whoever's throwing the ball for the Browns this year, whether it be Tyrod Taylor or Baker Mayfield, both are going to look at David Njoku. And this is a guy who you can get as a tight end one for sure. That's how much I believe in him. So, you know, guys like Gronk, Kelsey, Ertz are all the top tier tight ends. They're going to cost you an arm and a leg. You can get David Njoku in the later rounds and get tight end one production numbers out of him. Go ahead and snatch David Njoku. At number 2, I've got Chris Hogan of the New England Patriots. So again, another overlap for me because I mentioned Chris Hogan in my sleeper wide receiver video. But again, that's how much I believe in Chris Hogan. But it's also because of the fact that I believe in Chris Hogan because he's the default option for the Patriots. Now, folks, the Patriots are decimated at receiver. You've got guys like Deion Lewis gone, and I know he's not a receiver, but I'm going to get to him. Brandon Cooks is gone, certainly was a receiver. You take a look at Danny Amendola. He's in Miami now. You take a look at Julian Edelman. He's suspended. So there is basically nobody to throw the ball to for Tom Brady besides Chris Hogan, okay? So Chris Hogan's going to get volume, which he never got last year, and he's going to get targets, and he's going to get the ball thrown to him a lot. Of course, you have Gronk still there, who's going to get his fair share of targets. What I was talking about, the receiving corps in terms of wide receivers only, Chris Hogan is definitely the guy that's going to solidify himself. Folks, Tom Brady looked to Chris Hogan in the red zone even when Gronk was there. I believe he was second on the Patriots in red zone targets. So he is also a red zone machine, not to mention a deep threat as well. So you got a guy that can do both things. So he's going to be out there for a lot of the snaps, over the 90%, I believe, just because of the fact that they're so banged up at that position. And you can get Chris Hogan very cheap, like 5th, 6th round, and he could be a top he could be a wide receiver 2 for you with wide receiver 1 upside. That's how much upside Chris Hogan has, being Tom Brady's lone weapon at wide receiver. And at number 1, I have Davante Adams of the Green Bay Packers. Yes, that's right. Davante Adams is going to absolutely break out this season. He's never had 1,000 yards. He's easily going to top that this season, being Aaron Rodgers' number 1 receiving option now that Jordy Nelson is out of town and in Oakland. And we know that Jimmy Graham is in town with the Green Bay Packers, but the Packers rarely throw to tight ends. I think 15% of Aaron Rodgers' balls go to tight ends. They haven't had one that they throw to a lot since Jermichael Finley, and I don't expect that to change with Jimmy Graham. So we take a look at Davante Adams, who last year put up close to 900 yards and double-digit touchdowns with Aaron Rodgers gone half the season. So you're talking about bad quarterback play last year, and Davante Adams was still able to do what he did. Imagine what he's going to do with a full season of Aaron Rodgers as his number 1 option. You can look at easily, I'm predicting about 1,200 yards around there, and 10 plus touchdowns for sure. So maybe even 12 touchdowns, 13, something like that. I think he's going to be an absolute stud, and I can clearly see him putting up wide receiver 1 numbers. He can be your best wide receiver, and you will be happy with Davante Adams. I'm telling you, he is not getting drafted and not getting enough respect of where he should be drafted. Go ahead and target Davante Adams. He's one of my must-own players this year, along with Chris Hogan, who was my number 2, like I said, breakout player. So go ahead and target Davante Adams. You will not regret it. So there you have it, folks, my top 5 breakout players for this upcoming season. If you guys enjoyed that video, please give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps a lot. Comment down below if you guys agree with me or disagree with me. Let's talk, let's debate. Hit me up on my social media like I mentioned before. As always, thanks for watching.